I'm Andrew Hall, and this is Dead Hand Radio. My guests for this episode are the team from Bigfoot's Pad Paranormal Investigations. This group of researchers, investigators, and independent documentary filmmakers have been studying the topics we'll be discussing since they were in their teens. With nearly 20 years of experience in paranormal investigations, Jeremy, Nick, and Tim have collected a mountain of knowledge, and they're here to share some of their encounters on UFOs, Bigfoot, and ghost hunting. Welcome back to Dead End Radio, guys.
Hi, what's going on?
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
The hellhounds are out tonight, man, and they are barking up a storm, so we're going to have to bear with it. So for those listening and for you guys, apologies in advance. But we've got some people in the chat already. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks, everybody, for being here.
Yeah. So real quick, what I'd like for you guys to do is just go in order. And since, Jeremy, you're on the top left, so you go first real quick and just give a brief summary of what got you into UFOs, paranormal, and cryptid investigations, and then we'll go to Nick and then Tim.
All right.
So my name's Jeremy Metter, and I am 31 years old. Of course, Tim's my brother, and Nick may as well be my brother. And what got me into paranormal investigating was I grew up in a very haunted house in California. And as far as ghosts go, that's what got me into that. But I'd say one of the strangest things I've ever seen in my life was an encounter that I had where it looked like there was actually a UFO on the ground back in the late 90s. And I'd get into details with that later possibly, but I know on the last show I was told like the detailed version of that.
Go ahead, Nick. What got you into the investigations?
Okay. So when I was a kid, I grew up in an extremely haunted house as well. I had my first ghost sighting at the age of like 7. I woke up one middle of the night. It was early in the morning, middle of the night, and I see an old man in a red vest standing at the foot of my bed looking out the window. And he had really white hair and these blue eyes, pale skin, and he looked sad and he looked lost. And that image is forever etched in my mind, and I was afraid, and I covered myself in the blankets and just closed my eyes, and I looked out again, and he was still there. And then I saw a UFO out there in New England in the sky, something that looked like a shooting star, and a bunch of other weird paranormal occurrences, which kind of culminated in me meeting these two brothers, and that's when we started doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long road for sure. Hi, I'm Tim. Same with Jeremy. He's my brother. We grew up in the same haunted house. Like, I personally didn't really have any major encounters, but I seen weird stuff happen, like, after the fact. And we saw UFOs as a kid, and we were just our family kind of just raised us to believe in that kind of stuff because they all had incidents. And it just carried over into our teens. And next thing you know, we're meeting Nick and our old ex-member here. We're forming a team, and 20 years later, we're here almost. So, yeah, we're still here.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. To start this type of journey in your teens and then to carry it through adulthood. I mean, like I put up on the Twitter feed that you guys each have almost 20 years experience already. Now, most people with 20 years in on a job are almost at a retirement age. Right, you guys are barely scratching 30, and you guys have already got almost 20 years into this. So, when's the book gonna be out? When's the movie gonna come out? And what else do you guys got planned for the future?
So we're always trying to stay busy. So the way it works would be Tim is basically our main editor of all of our videos, and Tim does most of that. Me and Nick will sometimes sit with him or we'll help him, but for the most part, Tim does all the video editing. But I am writing a UFO book about the Ely, Nevada UFO crashes, and Tim and Nick were there when a lot of this was going on in the book. I'm hoping to get it out sometime towards the middle or the end of the summer. As far as the Sand Yeti thing, Tim, I'll have you talk about it real quick because I need to change my lighting on my side real quick.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Real quick, before you get into that, Tim, I just want to say welcome to the
Welcome to the United States.
Unidentified Celebrity Review. That's Luis Jimenez. He's a friend of mine. He's got a great YouTube channel over there that's doing a lot of good things for UFO disclosure. And I want to say huge welcome and thank you for being here.
Love that stuff.
Luis.
Yeah.
We actually met him at the end of the last show. We talked for a little while about the big phone home. It was just going on.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah. So go ahead, Tim. You were going to talk about.
So I'm trying to get my lighting straight over here.
Oh yeah, how things are going and everything with the.
Yeah.
It's going pretty good. We're just kind of because we've been doing it for so many years. We have so much footage to go. We're kind of doing like went through our storyboards and stuff, and we're like slowly putting it together. It's just a matter of like when we're putting it together, we got to find all the pieces of evidence we want to use because you're like, oh yeah, was that 20? Was that 10 years ago? Or was that 8 years ago? Was it 6 years ago? Well, but it's coming together really good, and it's going to be really well made.
Well, the Sand Yeti thing is the only thing is we started filming like 10 years ago, but the majority of the footage is actually from last year and this year. But some of our footage is actually from like 10 years ago, so it's not really. I mean, most of it is like recent, but some of it goes back pretty far.
Well, Jeremy, can I interject with a funny story about that? So we dug up this footage from 10 years ago, and we have this Sasquatch costume that I fit in 10 years ago that I filmed some reenactments in. Now, when I put that on, I can't fully close up the zipper. It's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
Nick, well, there's a good story about that. One time we were filming a insert scene where I was driving the car, Tim was filming from like the side of the road, and Nick was on the side of the road in a Bigfoot costume. Well, we were filming in the middle of the night, and a ranger started pulling up. And me and Tim got in the car and we drove off down the street a little ways. And Nick was running and hiding in the bushes on the side of the road in a Bigfoot costume.
Or the park ranger, yeah.
Okay, we solved the mystery, man. We know what Bigfoot is now. It's Nick hiding out in the bushes.
Yeah, I remember it was in the summertime. It was like 100 degrees even at night. And Nick said wrapped in a costume.
So, but you guys have actual Bigfoot experiences, right? Where you've heard sounds.
Oh, yeah.
And have you had things thrown at you?
Yesterday.
Well, Nick is actually the best one at telling this story. We have a story that's not really the Sand Yeti, but we were looking for a Bigfoot up near Sacramento. And, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we were up near Sacramento, and Jeremy and an team member had a sighting of Bigfoot up in this area, up in the redwoods. The time after that was in 2010. They had their experience in 2009. We did a follow-up in 2010, and we were walking down this path, and I was just whistling to see if I could get a response. Lips are dry, so my whistling's kind of pathetic, but I was whistling in the woods, and something started whistling back at us and started throwing pebbles at us.
Wow. So, okay, I'm from Sacramento. I grew up in Vacaville, which is like a half an hour drive to the west of Sacramento. Yeah. Where more precisely, tell me where you guys were about in that area.
The area is on private land, but it's really close to Lake Tahoe on the California side. Is the best way to word it. That's the best way I could word it because
so that's up in the mountains. Yeah, that's
like a specific like name or anything, but it's really close to Lake Tahoe on the California side.
Got it. Okay, cool. Did you guys see anything, or was it just audible?
Well, Jeremy. Let Jeremy elaborate on that.
Well, so the original time we came out to this area, it was about 2008, 2010, somewhere in that area, and what's weird is in order to get to the area, I don't know what they call it. So there's no formal campground, but we there's like a road where there's like an
service
old
road.
Yeah, there's like an old Boy Scout camp that used to be out there, and now it's on private land. And the there's never like buildings or anything out there, but you could see where they used to like pitch their tents and things. There's like kind of like a bigger open area.
Clearing.
So, like I said, around 2008 or 2010, we were doing our thing at nighttime with something that they call call blasting, which is where you play the supposed audio sounds of a Bigfoot, and you're hoping to draw in other Sasquatches using those sounds, almost like a hunter would do to draw in like a bear or something. So we were doing that, and I would say that was probably around 6 or 7 at night, and around 9 or 10, we suddenly started hearing what sounded like a whooping noise, or kind of like a almost like a whooping, or like a cooing, almost like a bird, or like a whistling noise coming out of a nearby creek. And what was weird was this noise, when it started, we started hearing footprints coming from like one side of us. And then we started hearing it coming from 2 sides of us. And then 3 of our 4 sides, we started hearing what sounded like footprints or footsteps coming towards us. And it was me, Tim, and our old team member. And what was weird was, like Nick said, this was in the redwoods, and it was like the forest was really thick. It wasn't it was like one of those types of woods where you could barely see like 5 or 10 feet past the tree line. And the next thing I know, shining my spotlight, and I see what looks like a branch or like a bush was moving. And when we're looking off in that direction where the bush was, out of the corner of my eye, I see what looks like movement on my right side. And when I flip around, my flashlight hits something on 2 legs crossing the road. And when the light hit it, the thing took off it cleared this road in about 3 or 4 steps. It took 3 or 4 steps and jumped into the tree line. And our other team member actually saw it with us, or with me. Tim ended up, I don't know if Tim saw anything or not, but
no, I heard something running though. I definitely heard there was something running.
It cleared this road and leapt into the tree line.
No, I heard
and
something
me,
running.
Tim, and our old team member, we actually, the 3 of us, went in there looking for it, trying to flush it out. I don't know if that's a good idea or bad idea, but we're in there trying to flush it out.
Bad.
And we looked everywhere for probably like an hour or so, and we couldn't find it. And meanwhile, the footsteps stopped when this thing jumped and cleared the road. And then we started hearing the footsteps again, almost like we were being surrounded at one point. It was pretty scary, actually.
Yeah,
and
it was like you hear something behind you, you turn around, and then you hear something in front of you too. So,
and what was kind of cool about it though was we didn't have a video camera because we were young and dumb at that time. So we only had like a tape recorder. So we recorded the audio, but not the video. We came back with Nick in 2012 for the second trip. And Tim actually uploaded a trailer for a documentary we were going to make at the time, where it shows the footage of the rocks being thrown at us and the whistling that Nick was describing earlier. And we went, and that now,
it's on our YouTube also.
Yeah, it's on our YouTube.
I
And,
I took a clip of it and I put it on the Instagram of that episode, or at least a little chunk.
Right, and all of those channels are BFP team. Is that right?
Yeah, we try to keep it the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Nick made an Instagram recently, though, so that Nick only made about a week ago, so he's still working on that.
Cool.
Yeah, so anyway, so we had the experiences in Northern California, and then we got the idea to focus on the Sand Yeti, which is kind of our new venture that we're doing. I'll let Tim and Nick talk a little bit about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the Sand Yeti is basically the same thing as Bigfoot, but he's in the desert, in the mountains around the desert, but he does trek down into the desert area. Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how do you guys get notified of sightings of these creatures?
We've been getting them for years on our contact forms.
Yeah, a lot of them come in through our bigfootspad.com email.
Oh, okay.
Originally, the X1075 radio did a segment on a Bigfoot that was over down by the Colorado River outside of Boulder City, Nevada. And they had different people calling in and reporting this. And then I got the idea at the time to put it up on our website that we were looking for Sand Yeti stories. So we had a whole bunch of them all at once originally. And then our website, we still leave like the Sand Yeti thing up on there, and we still get reports But our original
It's kind of an
reports were
ongoing
mostly
thing.
focused around
Yeah.
Blue Diamond, the town over in Red Rock Canyon.
Yeah.
And Mount Potosi and Blue Diamond were where our original reports were. Now we're getting them from Caliente and Pioche and all over the place.
So I was down at, do you know where Burrow Wash is? You guys familiar with that?
I know the name. I'm not
Okay.
100% sure
Yeah,
where it is.
I know the
It's-
name too.
It's in
Yeah.
the desert. It's about 20 miles south of Boulder City. And you have to
Okay.
drive off road the whole way to get there. And you go through this canyon, this really tight canyon. If you don't have four-wheel drive, you're not going to make it through there. And it drops out into this little cove right there on the Colorado River. It's a beautiful little spot. I was out there. So this is my Bigfoot story. Okay. I was out there with my family. We were hanging out, my grandson, my daughter, my wife, and my grandson's daddy. We were all out there having a picnic. I go off into the bushes to take a leak,
Yeah.
and it's a beautiful scenic vista, right? You got these mountain sheep up on the side of the mountain, and I'm looking up, and I hear this rustling in the bush. I'm like, what the heck is in the bush? Probably a lizard or something, right? So,
Right.
so I book it out back toward the trail that goes back to where we were parked, and I do this real loud yell, and I come running back to the family. It's a Bigfoot! It's a Bigfoot!
Yeah.
So it wasn't a Bigfoot; it was me, right? And I was trying to freak out the family. So my grandson, he's 4. He takes the story that I was telling, and he starts telling it as his own story. And so now I tell him, tell me your Bigfoot story. And he repeats the whole story, just exactly as if it happened to him.
Well,
So that's
Nick
my
actually
only
caught-
experience
yeah.
with Bigfoot.
I love it.
Nick actually caught something on Frenchman Mountain of all places. He caught video of it too.
Of a
Yeah.
cryptid or a Bigfoot?
No, I didn't get footage of a creature. I just found a lot of sets of mysterious large footprints that would start out of nowhere and they would stop nowhere. There'd just be like a line of tracks, like something like teleported, walked a little bit, and then it teleported away again. It's weird.
That is wild, man. Wild man, right? Isn't that another term for Bigfoot?
Yeah, oh yeah, the
Well,
wild
Nick-
man. Yeah.
Nick,
It
he actually
is.
knows more than me and Tim do about the Bigfoot that lives in the desert areas of California. And that's one of the things that originally got me into this too. Was Nick knows all like the lore of the Yucca Man and all that. I couldn't tell you about that. Nick knows a lot more about
Like
that.
I'm kind of familiar with some, but Nick's definitely.
You each
Yeah.
kind of have your own specialty, right? In the investigative scope of things, you each have like a specialty. Where Jeremy,
Little.
I know you specialize into the UFO crashes. Tim, what's your kind of specialty? What would be your main focus?
Well, I guess if anything, like it would, I guess the ghosts mostly, because I do a lot of the video, like filming and things for it. So, like sometimes they may not see something in the background that I see, and then sometimes I'll wait for them to discover it too. Like if
Well, Tim's other job, I forgot that he's
Go ahead.
kind of like the camera guy, the techie type guy out of the three of us.
Yeah.
So Tim also does a lot of that type of thing.
So it's a really good,
Yeah, and I used
it's
to
a
work
really
on a-
nice balance for each of you to have like one area of where you focus on that, but then you guys combine your skills and your interests to have this great team, these amazing investigations. So let's talk a little bit about some of the investigations that you guys have done. But before we get to that, real quick, I'm going to do an early spoiler, kind of a crowd pleaser for people that are checking this out. What is the scariest location for each of you? I mean, if you've all got the same one, that's cool. But go around, and start with Nick, because Nick's not saying much. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Nick.
right,
Scariest
get to
location.
talking, Nick.
There's a train station out near the Mawapa Indian Reservation that is very active. It's very haunted. I've gotten EVPs every single time we've gone to the site. We kind of discovered it by accident looking for the cemetery we couldn't find. And man, we got some stories for you about that spot. One time
And video.
Jeremy of all people puts on the Lord's Prayer on on his cell phone and says, "You better come out," and then we just heard a
Wow.
and then
like a deep guttural like growl.
Yeah.
And we caught it on camera too to make
And
it better.
well, and to elaborate, there is demonic worship. There's pentagrams and stuff. So it's,
Oh wow.
that's
that's
one
why-
place too. I was gonna say.
Right after
That's
the
my
growl
scariest.
happened, we caught heavy footsteps walking on the wooden planks in the building. Right after
Well-
the growl happened.
And they were
Within-
standing still.
Was there an apparition or anything, or was it just like
No,
disembodied footsteps?
The footsteps.
We
and
did
the
see
growl,
something out
but
the
it
window,
was
though.
weird. On the footage, you could hear the growl, but like when you were there in person, it's like the camera didn't pick up a lot of the like how deep it really was.
Yeah.
Because when it growled, it was one of those types of noises, like when you go to a concert and you can feel your insides rumble sometimes.
yeah,
It felt like
Oh.
that, like a,
Mhm.
They call that infrasound, right?
yeah, it was
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
a pretty, like a really heavy. You could feel it throughout your whole body type
Yeah.
of growl. And
Yeah,
the
so
video
that-
is kind of funny because right after we do that, you could see all three of us get quiet, and then Tim's kind of looking at us like, "You guys want to keep doing this?" Or
yeah. we had second guessed
Well,
ourselves.
it's funny because I don't. We're pretty brave, but like even me, like I'm probably one of the bravest ones of all. But like literally, I was absolutely terrified because it came out of nowhere. I knew the only explanation it was something spiritual and demonic.
That's wild. Yeah. Well, when you
Oh,
when
it-
you see the
That was my
satanic
crazy thing,
the satanic symbolism, strewn around a location like that, you know that there's something not safe about
not
being
good.
there. Yeah. So that's your
Yeah.
scariest location, also, Tim.
Oh, 100%. Like
Yeah.
I that was the only time I actually genuinely wanted to. Well, there was one other time where we left something because that was just as terrifying.
yeah, there's
But
only
I thought
one
that was
time,
actual
yeah.
people.
There's only one time in the history of us being around where we actually ran out of a place.
I would say for myself, people would be a lot more scary than, well, I don't know about
Yeah.
Bigfoot. Bigfoot might be a little bit scary too, but I would be more afraid of
It can
humans
be, but-
than I would of ghosts or UFOs. 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I think one of the scariest places we've ever been, in my opinion, out by Pahrump, Nevada, there's a place called Cathedral Canyon. I don't know if you ever heard
I
of that.
know where that's at. I've been there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Cathedral Canyon, for your viewers that aren't familiar, it was originally built as like a religious tourist attraction. This guy basically mimicked something that he saw. It was like Peru or Guatemala or somewhere like that. He mimicked like this religious site, and he built little shrines and things on the side of the mountain. And he used to have like a light show, even where he press a button and it'd play like music and things. But nowadays it's fell into disrepair. It's all broken up, and some of the statues and things are there, and they've been vandalized and all this stuff. But I guess lots of satanic worshiping goes on in that place nowadays.
Crazy.
And
Yeah.
Kehoe, the Indian's grave, is even out there. He was the last renegade Indian in Clark County. I think he killed like 19 people, they thought, and he had a clubbed foot. But so we were out there, and you could see there had been fresh devil worshiping going on while we were there. You could see next to Kehoe's grave there was a tomahawk with weird symbols written on it, and fresh ashes, and
And devil drivers in the bushes.
Yeah, and then you could see like devil drivers hanging from the trees. Like someone had just been there. within the last few
Wait,
days.
time out. What is a devil drivers?
You want to tell them?
You ever seen like the Blair Witch Project? There's
Yeah.
a lot of satanic worship. They hang like the symbols in the trees. I don't know personally the exact meaning of them, or I just know it's not good.
So they're made out of
Yeah.
sticks. They're just like branches
Stick,
bent around and
exactly.
made into weird symbols. Got it. Okay, I
we
understand.
we found those on like 10 or 15 different bushes. And what was weird was that was the very first time we got thermal camera and we were using it.
Mhm.
And we caught what looked like people, like human shapes standing on the edge of like vertical cliffs, like between the top of the cliff
Yeah.
and the ground. And
Wow.
at one point we were walking and you could see like heat signatures, like footsteps walking in front of us and to the sides of us, going up the sides of the vertical mountain. It was actually pretty scary.
That is wild. So yeah,
Yeah,
like I
that
said,
footage.
I found that place by accident a long time ago. When I first moved out here, I was out in Pahrump. I don't remember what I was doing out there, but my wife and I were out there. I think we had our kids with us too at that time, and they were little. This would have been like 20 plus years ago.
Mhm.
We found that place by accident, and we looked at it. It was kind of weird, but there was all these, Catholicism, religious symbols all around the place.
Yeah.
So we thought it was kind of cool. Years later, I don't even remember how much later, we went back and tried to find that spot again. It's really hidden, right? It's really hard to find it.
It's down to Copa Road.
Okay.
And it's on like your right. There's like a shooting gallery or like a shooting place, and it's like the next right after that is where the turnoff is. But I guess they said it was in good shape until the late '90s when the family stopped taking care of it, and that's when everyone came in and broke it up and everything. It's sad. I thought it looked pretty cool when it was in its heyday.
Yeah, that's when I
did.
would have seen it. Before it was broken up, so it would have been 96, 97, maybe 98. But then after I went back probably 5-10 years later I wanted to see it again. It was gone.
Well, the thing
I
that
couldn't
worried me though
find it.
was we had just seen all of this evidence that like devil worshipping type people were just there.
Yeah.
And where you have to park your car is way up high on like the cliffside, and you're down in this valley. And I was telling Nick and Tim, for all I know, those people could show up and we're down there and they could like vandalize your car or do something, and you wouldn't even know it because you're all the way down in the valley.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely humans would be the most worrying thing for me to run into humans, especially out in the middle of the desert or, in the middle of a secluded area where there's nobody supposed to be out there.
Well,
what
Nick
the heck
found
are
a
those
lunatic
people
on Frenchman
Yeah,
Mountain
Nick, you
one
should
time.
tell him about the. Oh, sorry, what, Jared?
I said Nick found a lunatic on Frenchman
And so you
Mountain.
should tell him the story why we ran away. We should elaborate.
Okay. Yeah. During the COVID shutdown last year when we weren't working, I went to go hike the Frenchman Mountain area very frequently. And I went to the old Frenchman mine site, which was an old copper mine from like the 20s and 30s. And I was exploring the area and I found a canyon. And I started going up the canyon. And I noticed on the walls of the canyon were these arrows pointing backwards, the opposite direction, saying, "Don't go here, stop. Don't come," and I thought it was a stupid graffiti done by like some high school students. So I kept going up the canyon, and I finally round a corner at the top of the canyon, and I see a cave, which isn't too big, but big enough for a person to maybe go stand up in. And I went and inspected, and I see a mattress in the cave, and then some plywood walls, like makeshift walls. And then next to the cave, there is there's a pit, an old mining pit. And inside the pit, I looked in, there was, again, a ramp built down into the pit. And I looked, and there was a guy, like, I didn't see him. And I think I seen him really barely out of the corner of my eye, was sitting in the corner of the pit. And he screams, "Hey, man, what are you doing? I live here." I bolted so fast.
I bet.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
Since you're
What are you
barely
living
talking,
in
why
a
don't you
cave
why don't
for,
you tell
dude?
Andrew the story about why the only time we ever ran from a ghost hunt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, so we were out in this place called Bonnie Clear, which is out near Beatty. It's, again, an old mine site, and we were down in this old house. And while we were there just taking some video, doing some EVPs, we heard some footsteps out in the sand that was outside the building. And we're like, okay, this is getting weird, because it was an RV that had been dormant and dark all night at the area. So we're like, I don't know who or what or anybody's in that RV,
Right.
but,
In the middle of nowhere.
middle of nowhere, So we started
On a
hearing
Breaking Bad probably over there.
Yeah, some Breaking Bad stuff. So we're standing there in the building, and the footsteps get closer and closer, and their speed gets it speeds up. Everything speeds up.
The metal
And
on
then-
the ground, Nick.
Yeah, there's some sheet metal that was scattered on the ground. You just heard clink, 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 like something was coming at us. And it got really, it basically took a mad dash to us, because you just heard clink, 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 clink. We ran so that was scary. And we
It's the only we thought it was people, so
we thought it was the people cooking some meth or something out there in the desert. But
Well,
Yeah,
no, you
what
forgot to
would
tell
the
Andrew
clinking
one
sound?
thing, though.
Hold on.
Andrew,
What would the clinking noise be? The metal clinking.
there was like a metal roofs on the buildings, and it looked like some buildings had fallen over and the metal roofs were on the ground. And you could hear the footsteps when they would walk on the metal roofs, but then it would kind of die down when it would go in the sand. But it was like walking all around us in like a circle shape. But something I forgot to tell you, though, earlier on in the day when we got there, we did actually find a real meth lab in the building we were in.
Yeah.
So that's why we thought it might be someone cooking meth in that RV.
Yeah.
But it turns out we don't know what it was, because if you look on Google Earth, that same RV is parked in all of the videos and pictures you see. So I don't know if it's just abandoned or what, but we really did. We found like gasoline and chemicals with like pipes coming out of them, and
I don't care. I don't care how tough you are, man. If you're out doing something like this, and you run across even a moonshiner's lab, or whatever they call it, where they're making their moonshine, or
the stills or whatever,
a marijuana crop or a meth lab, man, you just don't mess with those people's stuff, because they will kill you, man, and disappear you, and you'll never be seen again. Yeah.
Walk up on them. I promise I'm part of the ghost group.
Right?
Say it again.
Out of our existence, we've only come across 2 meth labs so far.
Wow. Only
2.
Yeah, that's 2 more than 99.9% of humans that don't do what you guys do.
Jack Ryan's asking if Bigfoot cooks meth. I keep looking at your chat.
That's cool. Yeah, Jack Ryan is awesome, man. He shows up to the chat quite a bit. I think I can't remember a live stream that I haven't seen him show up on. Thanks for being here, Jack. Good to see you. So let's jump to real quick UFOs, because I was looking through your website earlier today at some of the investigations that you guys did. And one of the earliest investigations, or maybe it wasn't an investigation, maybe it was just a sighting, but you guys had seen a UFO over a residential area. I think it was in 2002. Does that ring a bell?
That would have been our. Yeah, remember, Jerry? The that would have been by Palo Verde High School there where we live.
Well, you tell them, because I think you're the one that reported.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't remember exactly the exact details of, because it's so far back, but I remember like there was something on the radio actually. It said like, oh, mysterious. I think it was on some 92.3 comp or something. They just said, there's reportings going into the radio station randomly that there's something in the sky. And we were in Jeremy and I. This is the early days before right about the team was even created. So we walk out our door, and there was actually sure enough, like lights in the sky off in the distance, but I couldn't tell what size or shape they were. If I remember right, I want to say they were reported as triangles or something.
That's wild. So did you actually see
like
a craft, or it was just the lights? The lights in a triangle formation.
It's kind of far away, because we live in Summerlin. I would have said it probably would have been like probably halfway through the center of town by the time I seen it. But sure enough, there was stuff in the sky that night.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I've had other guests on that have seen the triangle-shaped craft, and
me too. I've seen them too.
The craft. See, I've never seen anything myself. I've never even seen weird lights in the sky that I couldn't explain. But
I'll have to send you the video when we're done here. But
for sure. What do you think the craft are? Yeah. Are they human-made, or are they something else?
I think some are legitimately like aliens, but I think maybe because we were of our location and proximity to military bases, a lot of them may be man-made. But I think there are probably a legit few that are extraterrestrial.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. What do you think, Nick? Do you think they're mostly human-made, or are they like a hybrid, kind of a back-engineered type of craft that's made by humans, or are they completely something else?
I think most of them are man-made. I think that they do come from the government. There's a guy I know that used to work for DOD a while back, and he lets out some Freudian slips sometimes, and he said to me, I quote, "Yeah, we're just trying to learn from some of the stuff that we recovered." Yeah. He told me that in a personal conversation. And I was like, oh, stuff that we've recovered. And I didn't question any further than that because, I'm not trying to, you
don't want to scare the dude off. If he's willing to give you a little tidbit once in a while, got it.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah. So I think that most of them are definitely man-made and come from the government, I think. And we probably did reverse engineer UFOs that were found in Roswell and other places in the nuclear age back in the 40s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah. What about you, Jeremy? Have you seen any of the triangular shaped craft?
Well, I didn't see one lately. Like I've seen one of the strangest things I've ever seen. I was with Tim, and we were driving to Pahrump, and randomly, I don't know what it was. It was probably like middle of the night. We're actually getting ready to go do a ghost hunt with our old team member, and we were like the only car on the road, and we passed that gas station where like the 160 meets the 159, and all of a sudden we're heading up the mountain by Mount Potosi, and all of a sudden we saw what looked like a teardrop shaped, or I guess you call it a triangle. I thought it was teardrop shaped,
Yep.
something glowing, and it was casting a shadow on
Yeah,
the road, and it
teardrop.
flew right over us. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, this teardrop shape is
Yeah, it
something that
was
I've been hearing about more and more.
insanely weird.
Yeah, this idea of a teardrop shape. Now, I guess there's all different shapes and sizes of these craft. Um, I talked to one witness who saw
Oh yeah,
a craft that looked like a star. It was the shape of a star, and that's not uncommon. I mean, it's not as common as the saucer
Yeah.
shape, or now the tic tac shape is what everybody's talking about. But you still reports. I listen to the MUFON reports, and still the majority of the reports are spheres, circles, which is confusing to me, saucers, and then there's a lot of cubes that are cited as well.
There's a story I wanted to tell you, Andrew.
Go for it.
I posted it on my blog on like Wednesday or Thursday.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was up in Blue Diamond interviewing some witnesses. I used to spend a lot of time up there. And there's an artist, and he's also a teacher, or he was a UNLV teacher. And I guess he's lived in the community out there since the early 70s. And he was saying that he was inside watching TV, and it was the middle of the night, said about 1 or 2 in the morning, and he saw what he described as kind of like a ball of light off in the distance. And I guess it got his attention, and he woke up his wife, and they went outside on the porch, and they watched this thing for about an hour, he said. He said there was a light that was going from Mount Wilson. It was he said it looked like a perfect round sphere, and he said it was going from Mount Wilson in the middle of Red Rock Canyon down to the Spring Mountain Ranch. And he said this ball of light was shining a small beam of light on the ground and on the side of this mountain. And he said it kept rising and falling and going like it was looking for something. And he says, and then all of a sudden, kind of gets quiet out there, and Blue Diamond wasn't as big as it is nowadays, and the road out there wasn't really used like it is now. He said they heard what sounded like an engine, like a motor of some kind. And he said next thing they know, this object is sitting next to the mountain, and he swears, I have no way of proving this, but he swears that either an arm comes out of the side or a conveyor belt of some kind, and like it's like mining the mountain or collecting some kind of samples from the side of the mountain. And he says right after it collected the sample, he said the light burned out and they never saw it again. And that was in 1972 out in Red Rock Canyon.
And and to elaborate on that thing, Andrew, I'm sending you a few messages on Twitter right now.
Cool.
Because my internet here, I'm sending you a few of our video messages. I have the last two I'm going to send you here. Actually, I filmed. There is one where I was driving through Red Rock and I caught like a UFO was zapping a beam down on Red Rock. It looked like it was beams or something. You'll see if I
think I saw that one. Were
really
you with your mom when you saw that one?
That time I was, yeah. That I was. Very weird, yeah.
So that thing
Let's
that was
see,
mining the mountain, I was going to ask you for your opinion. Do you think that it would want to collect a sample for some reason, or would, I guess, maybe for whatever reason? I don't know if they would really need it for anything besides maybe some kind of scientific research, maybe.
The part that was curious to me was that this sort of conveyor belt came out of the craft, and that's what collected the sample. Now, why would they need a conveyor belt to collect a sample? So,
right.
To me, that seems more likely that it was some kind of exotic human tech.
That's what I was thinking, possibly. Well, on my blog post, I try to make them brief. I try not to write too much because I feel like if it gets too long, some people get uninterested. So I tried to condense it all as much as I could in like 5 or 6 paragraphs. But I asked the guy, was he sure that it wasn't like a helicopter or something? He says he swears it wasn't a helicopter, and he says it was completely silent before the conveyor belt thing came out, and he says and afterwards it was just silent. He said after, before and after. So
Yeah, it's hard to say if you don't see it yourself and you're going off an eyewitness account. It just, I mean, maybe they needed a conveyor belt for some reason. Maybe it was, non-human intelligence that was controlling it.
what was weird to me was like he said it was like a ball of light shining a beam. And he said it was like carefully looking for something, whatever it collected. It was like flying around for almost an hour looking for it.
Mhm.
And I told him, I was like, an hour is an awfully long time to see something like that. And he swears up and down it was like 45 minutes to an hour.
Well, and I mean, you made it pretty clear in your blog post that this guy has impeccable credibility. He's not somebody that is known to screw around and tell stories.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to take him at his word for it. Did he misidentify something? What was the year that he had witnessed that?
It was 1972 before Red Rock Canyon got like real popular and built up and everything.
See, and helicopters back then would have been the only type of technology that could have maneuvered that way that I know of. There was no four-rotor type drone craft that could have done something like that. So it would have made a ton of noise.
Well, there was one time where I was out there with Tim and Nick like 2-3 years ago, and we caught a light that was unexplained rising and falling on the same mountain.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we caught that on video too. I don't remember. It's probably on our YouTube page. I don't recall exactly though.
It probably is.
I'm just screening these videos that you sent over, Tim. Is there a timestamp? And I'll share it on the live stream. But is there a timestamp?
You know what? I'm not sure, to be honest. There's so many videos I can't remember.
Okay, cool. Because I'm trying to find a spot which is going to be.
I could try to look at. Oh yeah, I keep looking at my phone because I'm on Twitter. People are writing this too.
Nice.
Yeah, they're asking us questions on there too, like links to the sites or to get on to watch the show and things.
Oh, okay, cool. So let me get back to I did compile some questions for you guys.
Sure, absolutely.
What in your investigations, over the years of your investigations, have you guys noticed any patterns? So that encompasses the whole scope of your investigations. Like one thing that has been reported kind of frequently in Bigfoot sightings is like these orbs that show up either before or after the Bigfoot sighting. Things like that. Have you guys noticed any other kind of patterns in your investigations that are notable?
The biggest thing with Bigfoot, for example, I noticed. So it seems like we always get wood knockings all the time. But
I noticed the San Diego. Sorry, Nick. You go ahead.
I was going to say, at least when we go to the redwoods and we've had our Bigfoot encounters out there, the entire forest gets silent. Not even a cricket chirps, and then something happens.
I noticed as far as San Diego goes, like we seem to get a lot more reports when it's coming from like summer to winter or winter into summer. When the seasons change is when we start getting reports about people seeing them out and about, which makes me think, I don't know if that's just because more people are out then, or if that means the creatures are using the desert areas to travel through. But it seems like that's when we get most of our reports for some reason.
That makes a lot of sense because in the winter, they would probably be bedding down most of the time just to stay out of the elements. But there's not as many people out either. So that could also attribute to the lower number of sightings. And then as the months start to, in the summer, start to cool off to go into winter, and as the winter months start to warm up, those are peak times for humans to be out in the environment. So that could be what you're seeing there.
Well, I noticed when we went up to do our sanity stuff, it's on our documentary, which we're trying our best to get it out over the summertime. At one point, we were walking in these tall weed-like grasses. It goes up to like almost like your chest or your waist. And right around the area where we found a footprint and we got that on camera and everything, there was like, it looked like the grass was laid down, like something was sleeping there or something was sitting down on the ground. And I thought that was kind of cool. I forgot to mention that to you on the last show.
Yeah, that so one of the big questions I have about the Bigfoot, in general, the Sasquatch, the Yeti, whatever you want to call it, these creatures are very similar in their behavior and the features that have been reported from eyewitnesses, where they can like disappear and appear almost at will. And the knocks, the dead silence that Nick pointed out. So I've heard recently that the U.S. military might have a really sincere interest in these creatures. Have you guys come across any kind of information to support that?
I think Nick might have looked into that.
I mean, yeah, I've looked into that. I've looked into a lot of Squatch mythos and whatever, and I haven't personally seen anything of the government having interest in Sasquatch, but I definitely think they are looking at the phenomena. It's something that they would want to have knowledge and control over because they want to have control over anything. So,
yeah. Do you think the control is? Now, man, I mean, I could see why they would want to try to like adopt some technology that could mimic what these creatures can potentially do or allegedly do based on the witness reporting.
Takes a different approach than we do. Like me and Tim seem to think the creature is like a flesh and blood animal. Sometimes Nick ventures off into the skinwalker, ghostly type figure.
Cool.
Not all the time, but sometimes he does.
Yeah, no, that stuff is just as interesting to me as the nuts and bolts stuff or the flesh and blood animals. And I think there's a level of legitimacy to that line of investigation as well. Because how else do you explain a creature that could be walking and leaving footprints, and all of a sudden the footprints end and the creature's nowhere in sight? Right? I mean, that's sounds.
Well, I was going to say the age-old skeptic question that says, why haven't we found a Bigfoot's body yet? Well, here's an answer.
Yeah. Because when they die, they go to another dimension or something. The body, the physical body goes to another dimension, or, they take it through a portal to their world. I mean, these are just highly speculative possibilities. But is there any evidence to support that those type of speculations are so far out there that they're not realistic to even think about? There really is no evidence to say that's not a possibility.
Yeah, there's nothing that can say that it isn't a possibility, that it's not true. I mean, like we were talking, I was talking about the Frenchman footprints I found, and there was some research I was doing about the Frenchman crash, and I came across...
Your video's frozen, Nick.
My video froze. Oh.
No, I see him. He's fine on my end, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so yeah, I was doing some research for that crash we were looking over by Frenchman, and I found the work of some like kind of rogue scientist. I forgot his name. I'd have to get it to you, but he was doing experiments and opening like stargates and wormholes over there on Frenchman Mountain, and I saw some pictures and some like blueprints and stuff that I stumbled upon Bing. I came across this weird email exchange that was on an old website, but if they opened up stargates and portals there on Frenchman Mountain, who knows what came through or what is still coming through.
So yes, I am like completely intrigued, because the idea of portals is something, it's one of the reasons why I got interested in this stuff to begin with. The Hunt for Skinwalker is the book the book that I read that totally blew open the doors for me. I've never had, well, I may have had some experiences with ghosts when I was a kid, but it's so foggy. The memories are so foggy. I don't really know if it was my imagination or dreams, or if it was a real experience. But I've never seen UFOs. I've never had any weird, unexplainable experiences. So I was really a skeptic up until about 2013 when I read that book, Hunt for the Skinwalker. And when he talked about portals and he talked about all the activity that happens in that one location, and it really made me think, like, okay, are all of these type of phenomena, are they all connected in some way? Do you guys have an answer for that? Jeremy, what do you think?
Well, I think in some situations I can't prove it, but when we saw the Bigfoot, or what I consider a Bigfoot, that in around 2008, 2010, over by Lake Tahoe, we did see a lot of UFO activities in that general time frame, because we stayed there for about a week, and we were seeing lots of UFO activity the night before, the night of, and the night after. So I don't know if it was some kind of a alien type creature or if that had anything to do with it. But I do know in that specific circumstance, I thought it might be an alien type creature. I know you see that across the internet where some people think Bigfoot is an alien, which I guess we really can't prove that it's not an
Yeah, we
alien,
don't
but we
know.
can't prove that it really is either, though.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Tim? Do you have any thoughts on the idea that maybe like even ghosts could be thrown into the same pot as, say, UFOs and cryptids, that maybe these things are coming from other
Um,
dimensions, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, because I used to listen to the Art Bell show way back in the day, and I know he had some guest on there that said there was an alien that would appear out of nowhere. Well, he called it an alien, but it would just appear out of thin air on his ranch. And supposedly he shot at one and killed one and put it in a freezer, but he thought they were interdimensional beings. So it's possible, maybe what we think maybe like a Bigfoot, maybe it is interdimensional, but because I have heard that theory a lot actually over the years.
Yeah, I have to say it does seem like it's a little bit out there, man. But really, when we're talking about these unknowns, is it
Yeah, that's
is
it.
it is it illogical to throw anything out? I mean, you got to have theories so that you could go out and try to prove
Oh
these
yeah,
theories.
Well, have you ever read the book
hence
The
the name
Mothman
Paranormal. Yeah.
Prophecies?
So what's the name of the book, Nick?
The Mothman Prophecies, that the book that the movie was based on?
I haven't read the book.
Oh yeah.
No.
A very good book, but one of the things that's talked about in that book is that when the Mothman popped up, there were Sasquatch sightings, UFO abductions, and apparitions and ghosts appearing. And the author,
That is true.
yeah, but the book states that all this stuff is tied together, and somehow it's like kind of a multiverse, different dimension kind of thing going on. But I think that book really does a good job of elaborating that.
Okay, that may be some of the material that was referenced in my own research. And when I say research, man, I don't go out and study documents, and I don't go out in the field and investigate. My research consists of bringing guests on this program, talking to them and getting their experiences, and picking their brains from the from the research that they've done.
Yeah.
So I'm really getting secondhand knowledge from the guests that I talk with.
Right.
But,
Like I
so-
said, hence the name Paranormal. This is kind of an all unknown. We don't know what any of this stuff is.
exactly.
Really.
Here's a good question since we were talking about Skinwalker Ranch. What do you guys think of the Skinwalker Ranch and what's going on out there? Thanks, Jack, for that question.
Yeah, good question.
Go ahead and start, Tim. Sorry.
Skinwalker Ranch, I do believe it is one of those areas. There's just way too many weird things going on. Maybe there is some sort of a portal or dimension where the energies. I know I am a believer of energy, so maybe these energy lines meet up there or something, and it causes paranormal activity. It's very possible. Maybe things come in through another dimension there, and that's what they see. Maybe ghosts and skinwalkers.
Right? Are you guys following that program where it's called The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch? There's an
You know
investigation.
what? Yeah, we watched a couple episodes of that.
Yeah. So they have recorded some really weird radio frequencies that are all happening at once, and I don't really understand the technology that they're talking about.
Right.
But it, I mean, these are people that are scientists and study this stuff for a living. When they get
way above our
excited about
head.
something, it seems to me like there's something legit going on out there.
Oh yeah.
What is your understanding?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, especially if they're willing to use all the money, millions of dollars out there too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think? What? Nah, I know that's not a fair question, man. But let's jump into the realm of speculation. So, what do you think is going on out there, Tim? At Skinwalker Ranch.
Let's see, Skinwalker Ranch. I personally think that's probably a portal to the other side over there. Like I said, where all these energies meet up, and probably most likely, I don't know, interdimensional beings is my guess is what people are seeing, and possibly UFOs can be related. Possibly, maybe they use these to teleport or transport to some sort of technology above our comprehension.
So, Jeremy, when we're talking about portals, and Nick was mentioning that there's potentially portals out there on Frenchman Mountain, which blows my mind because that makes me want to go out there again. But I don't want to get sucked into a portal and disappear forever.
Well, there's a story about that.
Right.
Me and Nick were on the Talk with Vince show. It used to be an FM radio show that they'd broadcast from, it was like Durango and Sahara. I forgot what the radio station number was. But they had a show right before me and Nick went on. The same day, they had a show where they had a guest on that was talking about that. I don't know the specifics about it, but I just know that they did have a radio show about it. He was fascinated by it, and he swore that it existed, but I don't know too much about it personally.
So, Nick, what are your thoughts on portals, man? Are these like interdimensional, or are they like? If you go through a portal, do you go into another timeline, like time travel? What are your theories on the portals situation?
All of the above. I think I'm a believer in the multiverse. I definitely think there are multiple universes and dimensions. Reality's like an onion. There's a lot of different layers, and if you peel back one part of a layer, you're going into another one, into another one, into another one. And I think that can cross through time, space, and we really can't comprehend the scope of where these things go and where they come from. But I definitely think that they go into different layers of reality, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Well, have you ever heard of the theory called the bubble verse, I believe it's called, where they say there's like an infinite amount of universes in the universe, and we're just in one of them, supposedly? Maybe something with that.
The bubbles overlaps sometimes. They'll intertwine, and that's where you get the portals.
Almost like those diagrams.
Yeah, I've heard that theory too. That's an interesting one. So
and it kind of blows your mind just thinking about it.
It's hard to wrap your head around some of that stuff because they've actually, these aren't just people making stuff up, man. There's scientists that are actually looking into this stuff, like quantum theory and quantum mechanics, that kind of stuff. I mean, quantum is mind melting to me. Let's see.
The fact that Albert Einstein too, he's the one that developed the theory for wormholes that are possible for time travel through different universes too.
So when we were talking about a minute ago, I think it was Jeremy, you were talking about the ley lines, or maybe it was Nick. I'm sorry if I got that mixed up. Ben Mesrick wrote a book called The 37th Parallel. The same author who wrote The Social Network 21 And he continues on. He decided to study UFOs and mutilations and secret U.S. military installations and discovered there are many paranormal and freakish incidents that occur specifically on or near the 37th parallel. And what he's talking about there is the lines that go around the Earth. I can't remember what they're called.
Latitude,
like energy
Yeah.
ley lines.
Latitude, longitude lines is what he's talking about. So the 37th parallel is the 37th latitude. No, that would be longitude that goes around the Earth. So apparently, there's a lot of weird activity that happens on that parallel.
Well, yeah,
Interesting.
Well, I've heard of that book. I haven't read it. I need to check it out. But one time I was doing a Google Earth of that area where the haunted train station I was talking about earlier is, and that, along with another abandoned building, which isn't too far, is on the 37th parallel.
Interesting. Very interesting.
That's in my mind.
Yeah, and so
Andrew, Tim sent you a private message with the timestamps for those videos. I don't know if it just sent to me or if you guys could see it too.
No, I see it. Okay, cool. So I'll
I just
queue
didn't know if
those
it
up.
only went to me or if you guys could see it.
Yeah, I will queue those up, and then we'll move over into the UFO discussion here. So while I'm queuing this up, why don't each of you guys give your opinions, and let's start with Tim. Give your opinions on the best UFO hotspots in Nevada.
Okay, best UFO hotspots in Nevada. Believe it or not, I would probably say around the Vegas area because there's just a lot of them. There's actually a guy we follow on our YouTube channel. He I don't know what he does, but he has like 20 cameras pointed at the sky constantly, and this guy records them weekly. And I post them pretty frequently on our Twitter account. But it's just amazing though. This guy catches a lot of stuff, and I'm pretty sure a lot of them are man-made, but it is amazing how many he catches. And I send them to Jeremy and Nick all the time too.
Jeremy, go ahead. What do you have?
I would say for sure. I think the secret honey hole hidden hotspot would be Ely, White Pine County for sure.
Oh yeah.
We have stories of lights chasing cars. There's the UFO crashes, of course. In general, no one really lives there. It's very isolated. There's abduction stories from out there. The area in general, it has lots of ghost sightings and ghostly encounters because it's a historic area. There's Bigfoot stories from out there. I think in general, just for not just UFOs, but in general, that's one of the spookiest parts of Nevada by far that I think.
I would probably say my opinion would be near Rachel, Nevada, on the way to Area 51. We had actually a pretty weird encounter out there where a ghost light was coming towards us, and we went down into a dip and then came up and it was gone. There was no roads or paths or vehicle parked on the side of the road. It just disappeared and went off the face of the earth. So I've always been kind of spooked out by that place ever since that occurrence happened.
I've been up there, and I could see where it would get freaky because you're out there, and the only civilization, and I use that term loosely, is the town of Rachel, which has got like 5 people in that town.
Right.
And so you're out there in the middle of nowhere with really no backup except for who's with you. So if something is going to happen, you're on your own, and yeah, that could be freaky.
I think
But
the only bad thing about our group is we've never been down Groom Lake Road to where like the warning signs are. Even though we've been everywhere else around we've been everywhere else. We've never been to that area where the warning signs are.
That's only like a 20-minute drive off road, but
that's what I hear.
It's only like 20 minutes from the town of Rachel. Now, if you go on the other side of the road, I mean I think it's the back gate. I think that's a little bit further off of the road. Yeah. But I mean, the road is not bad. I did it when I went out there. Did you
go with MUFON the other day when they went?
No, man, they never. At least I don't know if they. I never got the notice. But see, I'm not a member of New MUFON, so that they probably only wanted MUFON members.
Because I know, sorry, my cat's like in my face.
No, no worries.
What do you call it? Yeah, I go to the MUFON meetings with you. I try to add something to the table every meeting when they ask if there's anyone that has anything interesting they want to say. So I don't know about you, but I try to bring something to the table as far as like a sighting or something. And it seemed like they were all gung-ho about going out to the gate to Area 51 last meeting we talked to them.
Yeah, I wanted to go with them too, because it's been a few months, probably 6 months since I've been out there. It was cold when I went out there.
Mm-hmm.
And but they have a member, a MUFON member, who goes out there all the time, and I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but
I want to say
he's
like
a
Brock
really nice
or
guy.
something like that, from what I remember.
I'd have to look it up, but I can't remember. So let's see if this is the right video, Tim, that you sent me, and if it is, we'll go ahead and cue it up. Can you guys see that? Okay.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can stretch.
Sorry, we
this
have so
out a
many of
little
them.
bit. And
Yeah,
how
this is
does
one of
that-
the best UFOs I've ever got.
Okay.
Yeah, and this thing was a giant triangle. This is one of the giant triangles we were talking about earlier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this thing was massive.
So here we go. I got the audio muted. Do we need to have audio?
No, not at all. Just me going, whoa.
All right. So explain to the audience and to me what you're seeing and where you're at, and kind of what you're doing.
So I'm up here in Summerlin. Actually, it's a funny story. I was actually driving home from somewhere. I can't remember what it was. It was nighttime. I was driving by one of the golf courses, and I seen a triangular object fly over my car. It was like unreal, and I rolled down my window, and there was zero sound. So I raced home. Thank God I was like 2 minutes from my house. So I just ran in the house, and I always have my camcorder charged because we go out all the time. And I ran out hunting. I drove to the golf course's parking lot, sat there, and just taped it for a long, long time. And you could see, I know it's me, it's typical UFO shaky camera there, but at times you could see a clear triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you tell them when you
These are
followed it up
stadium
to Red
lights
Rock, though?
or street lights out there. Huh? So
Yeah,
you're on
the bottom there, yeah.
You're on the west side of Las Vegas. Are you at the edge of the town, right there before you get to Red Rock?
Not, but maybe about 10 minutes from that area. It's more like
By Palo Verde High School.
Yeah, well, not even there. It's by oh god, what's it? Town Center and I can't remember the name right now. I think it's Canyon Run is the name of the street, I believe. Or no, that's Alta. I'm sorry, Alta right there. Alta in town.
Is that
Did you tell them
showing
you
up?
followed the lights into Red Rock Canyon and you saw what else you saw?
This is actually before that.
Oh.
But no, this one was I was actually driving home. You can't even make it up. I saw a triangular thing fly above my car.
So it's still
And then full investigation mode.
Let's see. It's still up.
It kept just
up
flying
there.
around Las Vegas. Yeah, it's hard to tell with that, but and the night glare too from like the street lights kept messing with my autofocus.
Yeah. So was this on your phone or did you have an actual camera?
This is actually my camcorder.
Okay.
The one I usually use to film a lot of our other investigations, but
There we go.
yeah, you can see like at times it's two of them, but at times then you can see there's actually three lights.
Okay. For some reason, which direction are you facing?
I am west facing east right here.
Oh, so this is over the city.
Yeah, it sure is. This is probably like facing the city. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably one of the better ones I ever.
There it is, right there. The three lights. The three lights in formation. Yep.
Yeah, that was one of the best I've ever personally caught. And then right there, that's an actual other airplane flying by it.
Yeah.
Like a light airliner jet flying by it.
Yeah, because there is a ton of air traffic over the city of Las Vegas
Yeah.
constantly. The 2 times since I've lived here that air traffic was at a minimum to none was the beginning of the pandemic around February, March of
Mhm.
2020 and 2011 or 9/11, 2001.
Oh, right.
There was no air traffic whatsoever at that time.
So
Other
yep, so
than
that
that,
one's probably my personal favorite. But then there's one more too where we caught some weird lights in Red Rock too. That I'm not sure if Jeremy sent you the link to that one too.
oh, let me get this back up. So Jeremy did send me one from Red Rock, and
Yeah,
it's
that's probably that one you seen where the beams were coming out of it with when I was with my mom that one time.
uh, possibly. So let me share this one
Yeah.
also. Is it February 28th of 2018?
I believe that is the one. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm trying to look it up on my phone too here.
Give it a try.
There's so many, like I said, I'm trying to remember. Sorry.
No worries.
20 years worth of stuff.
Last time Jeremy and I were together, we were doing this screen sharing stuff, and it crashed the stream, so we had to end it.
Oh no.
So if
Yeah,
that
we don't want
happens,
that.
yeah, there we go. Let me get this.
Oh yeah, this would be February 23rd. Yeah, that one.
Okay, so we'll press play, and I see some.
And this one, I can't remember the exact circumstances, but I was out with my mother out of all the people, and she was like, "What the f is that?" and you can guess her and I went hunting again that night.
So that's it.
Speaking of mom, she's sitting right here next to me watching this.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
So this is 2 times the speed for anybody.
Yeah, and this was my camcorder again.
And I see the light blinking on and off. It looks like it's hovering right there.
Yeah. This is probably overall the best footage I ever caught later on in the video, but like that other one's I couldn't believe like the size of the triangle that flew over my car.
Right. So I see a little bit of a mountain range out there. What direction are you facing in
That would be
this video?
that'd be facing Red Rock.
Okay.
Like kind of the northwest, if I remember right.
Are you guys
northwest?
Are you guys familiar with the YouTube channel UFOs over Vegas?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He does a lot of footage out in that area, and
Oh yeah, that's the one I was telling you. Yeah, that guy, he has like 20 cameras at the sky at all times.
he's seen something similar to what you're describing, where there was something hovering over in the area of Red Rock, shooting light beams down into the area, kind of doing like a scan of the area, it seemed like.
Yeah, and by the way, and see what you're seeing on your video too, that was really odd. And randomly that night in Red Rock, there were just dozens of cars alongside the road that were unmarked. It was very weird.
Yeah, that's strange. So possibly
They
government.
literally didn't have any lights. That's what I'm thinking. It was just bizarre. Like I think we stumbled upon something that night. It was just whether it be man-made or whatever, but it was just strange.
So there was
It almost looks like there's 2 lights right there.
yeah, it did. Right.
Yeah.
Here, let me back up a sec. So right above your text here, there's this light. Do you see my mouse? My cursor?
Yeah. Sorry, I cut it off there. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, and this is actually right before you go to Red Rock Canyon because we were like driving around kind of trying to find it because at times we'd lose focus of it, but
Okay, I'm gonna jump forward.
yeah, I think it's like right over here is where things get really unquestionable coming up here. Yeah, here it is. Because there was like an empty school campus where we were flying, and it was like hovered above that. Right before you get to Red Rock, there's like a university there,
Let's jump forward.
or like a technical college, if I remember right. Sorry, guys. The lighting was horrible that night.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a plane flying just below the light that's hovering, right?
Yep. Then a third one joins in too.
Oh yeah. Is that are these planes or what are these?
No, they were just balls of light in the sky. At times you couldn't tell what they were.
So yeah, so you're facing Red Rock, and these
Yeah,
things
we're
are,
facing Red Rock.
now this is 2 times the speed, so I don't want to confuse people. These things aren't moving that fast.
Yeah.
But I have the YouTube speed set at 2 times speed. So let me slow it down right to normal speed here.
Yeah, it was just like we were talking about earlier, things you don't know the answers to. I don't know what was going on right here. All I know there were weird lights, and they were huge too. They were just massive. I don't know what they could have been.
Yeah. Do you happen to zoom in on these at any point?
Yeah, I do. We do, and there's at one point when my mother and I are trying to chase them. You could actually see them flying above Charleston Boulevard over the neighborhoods over there.
Wow.
And those are actually well lit up because of the lighting was good because of the street lights and things. Because right here, they just kind of meet up and they're kind of like doing their thing right here. There's a third object that will come in from the right and meet up with them.
Yeah.
And that's when the chase really happened there.
Yeah, it's unusual.
Sorry, it's so long. We watched.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna make an observation. If these were helicopters, it makes no sense that they're out there hovering over.
Right.
I mean, basically an empty plot of land, acres and acres
Yeah.
of land.
Like a technical college, and that's like the last thing before you got to Red Rock at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and these aren't over the college. These are over the Red Rock.
Yeah, a little
area.
bit past it there. Yeah, and like you said, thank God you did the 2 times because you would have been watching it a long, long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I could jump forward 10 seconds also. So.
Oh yeah, here you can see the other object down there. This is where it gets
Okay, here comes the
really,
third
really
object.
interesting.
So these things are just hovering, more or less.
Yeah, just
And then
hovering.
this third one's
And then there
coming
was
to
zero
join
sound too.
There's what? No sound?
Oh, zero sound too the whole time. Yeah, like I was trying to listen if you could hear propellers or engines, but nothing.
Did you happen to get close enough to see a shape of any of these objects?
No, all they looked like was flying balls of light. Like when I had seen them.
Looked like a triangle right there, though.
Yeah, they kind of converged temporarily, and then they moved off.
Yeah, and right here you're gonna see it flying over Charleston Boulevard. Right here, see them right there.
Yeah. So is
Very
it three?
weird. Yeah,
All
those
3 of
things
them?
were 3 of them. Yeah.
And you guys are chasing them.
Oh yeah, and it was really, really late at night too. Like I want to say like 1 in the morning.
How far
Those
do you
should have
think
been
they
like
are away from you guys at this point?
right here. They took off super fast. So they're right there. They probably went from Red Rock to probably the north edge of town within maybe 30 seconds.
Uh-huh. Cool. I like that. I can't explain it, man. Let's see if anybody in the chat has
Me
any.
neither.
It's
Yep.
wild.
So yeah, that was probably the best footage we've got.
Okay, stop sharing. Let's get this back up to. Here we go. Let's see if we got any comments from the chat room.
No, I know. I keep trying to take a look too on occasion there.
Let's see. Contour David fake. I don't think it's a fake video. Contour. Thumb down, F loser. Okay, well, we can't please everybody, man. But
No.
you know, your opinion is welcome. But these guys are legit, man. They go out and do this stuff as often as they can. So, you know, how often do you guys go out doing UFO hunting or Bigfoot hunting? investigations?
Sometimes just randomly, sometimes we'll just be hanging out. We go, "What do you want to do tonight? You want to go out? Sure, let's go do it." And then sometimes we plan them weeks in advance. And
yeah, it seems like it would be hard to. I mean, unless you go out and do some sky watching, you could plan on doing a sky watch, but your chances of capturing something doing something like that is pretty low. I would guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys plan like expeditions to go out and do sky watching in different areas? Like, I've heard one hot spot is I can never remember the name of that town. It's do you know where the Clown Motel is?
oh yeah.
Tonopah.
That's I can never remember the name. Is that a hot spot for UFO activity?
I never thought about it or heard of it as a hotspot.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah. Somebody was telling me that that's a hot spot, and I've only been up there. I took a bunch of pictures of that Clown Motel because it was so freaky. It's just a weird,
Bizarre
theme for a hotel, right? And it's right next to a graveyard.
I know, and in the middle of the desert too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
So, okay, cool. If I'm mispronouncing your name, I apologize. But yeah, hang out, Contour. If you have questions, comments, you're more than welcome to chime in.
You want to comment on Nick's goatee and his beard?
Yeah, I think it looks great, man.
It does.
I think beards are, beards are
pretty manly.
They make you look wise beyond your years. Right.
When I work at a casino, I can't grow any, but
oh, they don't allow you to?
You can grow it very light. You have to be like a goatee or like a certain length, but nah, it's easy just by shaving.
Right. So let me get back to my questions. And what is your favorite of across the scope? So Bigfoot, ghost, UFO. What's the most favorite investigation that each of you guys have had? Jeremy, you haven't said anything in a while, so why don't you start?
Sorry, I was ordering dinner. You said my favorite Bigfoot story. Is that what you were saying? Sorry.
No. Favorite investigation that you guys have been on together. Across the scope of all the investigations you guys have done.
Let me think. There's so many of them. I'm just trying to think. I would say one of the coolest ones we ever did was a place called Stonehouse over by Ely. Mm. It was one of the original buildings in White Pine County, and we got some really cool stuff out there. They had like the original well was still there. At one point, there was like a long stick or a long piece of wood sitting there on this inside windowsill, I guess. Like, it looked like a window that was inside the house. I don't know what the purpose was, but and at one point we're talking, and this stick of wood, you see it turn suddenly, like, and it's in the background, so none of us are touching it. This stick, I guess you call it a stick or a piece of wood, flips around, and Tim caught it on camera twice.
Yeah, and then at one scene it's just gone.
Yeah, that was wild.
How about
actually on our video on our YouTube too?
Okay, how about you, Nick? What's your favorite investigation?
My favorite investigation that all of us ever went on was the follow-wood Sasquatch out there in California.
You're starting to get happy.
I got really good memories from that.
Yeah, you're getting
we're saying when we went to the redwoods. Is it better now?
A little bit better. Go ahead and give it another try. If you have to, you can drop out and then come back on.
Okay.
Yep. So, Tim, what about you? What's your favorite investigation? We'll let Tim give his, and then you.
Okay.
try it again.
One of them, like there's too many to recall, but yeah, I probably say with this place in Arizona, 2 Guns, where there supposedly it was like this tunnel where Native Americans got chased in and were smoked to death by the U.S. Cavalry there, if I remember right. And but anyway, make a long story short, we just caught so much weird stuff in there, and Nick was taunting the ghosts, of course, while smoking after they died of smoking, and just caused all sorts of crazy activity that night.
Is that pretty typical of Nick to try to agitate the ghosts?
Him and Jeremy, yeah, I don't so much. They do.
What does that do? Does that elicit some kind of a response, or what's the point of?
Sometimes it does. This particular chance, it did. Oh, we got a lot of crazy stuff that night. Like unexplained talking and just weird stuff.
I think Nick froze.
Yeah, I like his face on it too.
I like where he's under there.
But yeah, that's probably one of my favorites, though.
All right, cool. Nick, did you want to give it another try?
Yeah, I don't know if he could hear you or not.
Yeah, I'll give it another shot. So, yeah, the middle. Oh. Is that better?
Yeah.
Shoot. Oh, it's good. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, the Sasquatch investigation out in California, Northern California, that was when we had 4 members on our team, and we just have a lot of good memories of going out in the woods and encountering Bigfoot, encountering nature.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best sleep you'll ever get. There's no noise at all from anything. So that's definitely the favorite trip that I've been on.
That's cool. Yeah, that camaraderie, it seems like, would be the most, that bonding that you guys get from doing these type of adventures.
It is cool.
And then to be out in nature, to be exploring and experiencing, just being away from the city, being away from the stress of that, and and at nighttime with no light pollution, being able to look up at the sky and see the
although you're at the mercy of Bigfoot, though.
What's that?
You are at the mercy of Bigfoot and surrounding your camp like us, though, that one time, and throwing rocks at you.
Oh, no, and mountain lions.
And mountain lions, too, yeah.
Remember the ones that ran up side along the Jeep?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's something that, you're out in the wilderness, and you're looking for Bigfoot, or you're looking for UFOs or whatever, and there's bears, mountain lions, raccoons and badgers. You got to be careful with your food. You got to really be careful.
Those ticks, everything.
Yeah.
Oh, mosquitoes are the worst.
We saw mountain lions more than once when we've been out. We're doing the Sand Yeti thing about last year, and we were doing our thing, walked around the woods and stuff. And once we got back in the car, we were like 10 minutes down the road, and we saw a cougar and 2 cubs. Or no, that was in Middle Meadows. We saw a cougar that time. We've seen mountain lions 2 or 3 times, but yeah, that was spooky. Yeah. It was like midnight or so.
Oh yeah, there was one in the middle of the road at Mount Charleston. It was a beautiful animal.
Yeah, it's I mean, we talk about on this channel, and a lot of other channels talk about, how interesting UFOs are and how interesting Bigfoot are, and these things that you don't often ever have a chance to see, and a lot of people never even see them. But what people don't think about very often is if you go out into nature and you just observe, and like the other day when I was out there at the lake and I saw those mountain sheep, the bighorn sheep up on the side of the mountain. I saw them actually climb up the side of this sheer rock mountain, and I'm just amazed by the beauty of nature.
Oh, absolutely.
The absolute mind-blowing ability of wildlife in their natural habitat. Man, it's incredible. And I think, all the mysteries and all the interesting things that we study, that you guys investigate on a regular basis, it's interesting. But so many people forget to go out there and enjoy nature, and look at the wildlife that's out there, because that's part of this planet that we live on. Um, but you guys get to do that on a regular basis when you're out on your investigations.
Yeah.
Oh, every time. That's one of my favorite things, the nature aspect to it.
Yeah.
The history as well. We really like to get into the historical aspects of the investigations.
Yeah, I agree. And history is one of my favorite things to research or read about.
Mhm.
And that's the reason why I started this podcast. I originally started because of the Cold War. And that led me to the study of how nukes or UFOs were interacting with nukes. And then that kind of took me off into the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole from there.
Right. It starts with one thing and spider webs into 80 other ones.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, history.
That's why I got started too.
Say that again.
Oh, that's what interested me too. I got started with UFOs and I kind of branched off into everything.
Yeah. You guys used to have a podcast or a radio show that you had for a couple of years, and then you kind of put that on the back burner for a while. But you guys interviewed some really notable people on the podcast. How were you guys able to book those guests, like Stanton Friedman, Nick Redfern, Jesse Marcel,
Jeremy there?
Oh, that was you, Jeremy?
Yeah, that's all Jeremy right there. That is the PR guy.
Sometimes what I would do is I would get someone in mind, and I have to go hunting for them, like on their websites, like go find emails and things. And sometimes it was like we would know someone, and they would just be friends with like another. So they'd be friends with whoever we wanted to talk to, and it was like a chain. But a lot of the time, I'd have to go hunting for them, though.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seemed like Stanton Friedman must have took a liking to you guys, because he was on your program 3 or 4 times, I guess. Huh?
Yeah.
He was a pretty good friend.
That's awesome.
He before he died, he actually was. Yeah, he was supposed to write the foreword in my book. Actually, he said he would, and then of course he didn't end up making it that far. But that would have been cool.
So we'll get back on that topic, but Predator asked a question: what is the explanation of ghosts? What do you guys think that ghosts are? That's a good question, Predator. Thank you.
It is a very good question.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, you want to start, Nick? You haven't talked much.
Yeah, Nick, go ahead and start.
I'll go ahead. Yeah, so I think perhaps ghosts are just in other beings' subconsciouses existing on another plane, like we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when we see ghosts, it's kind of like our timeline or our dimension kind of scratching or bumping elbows with another dimension, we could say. And we kind of get a glimpse into that other dimension. And we see the ghosts, and they probably see us, and they might even be more freaked out than we are if they see us. Who knows? But I think that they're some kind of a subconscious or energy of an organism on another plane or another dimension.
Interesting.
Yep, and I agree too, 100% what Nick said.
Yeah. And Jeremy, have you guys? Do you feel that way too? That what are ghosts?
Oh yeah, I agree. I think they're more like in another dimension that we can't see. I think at times you could get glimpses of that dimension. And I just think we don't quite understand how to do it. But no, I agree with Nick though.
Cool. What about the idea that ghosts are human spirits that are stuck here and are able to interact with living humans, but they have not passed on to their other, what happens after we die? Is that a possibility?
I think
or
it could be either one.
Okay.
I think what Nick said, the other dimension thing is plausible, but I do think if you had to pick a second one, I think that would probably be it. Both of those explanations would be my number one and my number two in reversed order, either way.
Right, because we've encountered stuff too where it's supposedly like lost souls of someone that haunted the property, and sure enough, you get activity when you call their names out. And like I sent you a sheriff ghost, for example. I sent you a video of that. That's a long time like tale of the town there that he would come out. He used to be a sheriff, and he would lock up the prostitutes in the rooms at night so they couldn't go around, doing their business there. But evidently, it was a rumor that at night you'd hear the door handles cling and you'd see a ghost walking down the hallway. So we called the gentleman's name and stuff, and sure enough, we caught him. So I definitely believe they could be like lost souls of living people, and just somehow like interacting with the living.
Yeah, I think the idea that they could be multiple things, and they act and interact with us in a similar way, but they could be different things. Because you guys have captured evidence on EVP. Have you've got video evidence too? Is that the video?
Yeah, we got apparitions. We got really good apparitions on, I'd say, about 4 or 5 different videos. I would send him the Boulder
Jeremy
City
probably
ghost
taunting
one.
too.
Yeah. Tim, send Andrew the Boulder City ghost and send him the sheriff thing.
I got the sheriff one. I'm going to cue that up.
I'll find the other one real quick here. Yeah, those are, again, a lot of the good ones, but these are some of the best ones we've got. And a lot of them are like, or some of our first cases, we had to redo them too. Like re-go over the evidence and enhance the quality.
Well, it's always good, especially if you can repeat the findings. That's part of the scientific process, which is always helpful.
Yeah.
I could tell Tim's.
Are you sending him that one of the shadow over the bed?
Yeah, I just sent him that one and
Okay.
Trying to think the other one.
So I've got the Boulder Dam Hotel, the sheriff ghost. I'll pull up the sheriff ghost first.
That's one of the coolest ones we ever caught, I thought.
It is.
Yeah. That's one of the best pieces of evidence for ghosts I've ever seen in my life.
And that was also one of our first cases we ever did too, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, ironic.
We noticed a couple of lacerations in the hind lip quarters and also a couple in the front. It's real.
All right. So let me just increase this browser.
Like good. You like that, Jerry? Who it's on?
Oh yeah.
Is that your
former? Tells you how long it's been. We had a 4th member way back when.
Increase the playback speed to 2.
You could tell that's older video editing. The program.
Yeah, we had to go over it.
Is there a certain timestamp that you should go to, Tim?
No, I don't think the video is too long. I think I'll be able to point it out here.
Yeah, if I go past it, just let me know. I've got it on 2x speed right now.
Yeah, and you're gonna look right in the dead center there, like right in the back hallway. See, there's like a white figure.
Yeah, I think I saw it. Okay, so hold up. I'm gonna
put on
change
pause.
the speed.
It's kind of on this frame right there. You could see it crossing. What you're looking at is the 2nd floor hallway, and there's like a window at the far end of the hallway. Look at the bottom right corner of that window. You could see when whatever it is steps in front of that window.
And it does it several times too.
Like right there, you can see something in front of the window.
I did see something right there.
Okay. We caught it 2 or 3 times. We caught it.
Yeah, it looks like a random blob of cytoplasm just goes by the window.
Yeah, it's weird, but it backs up the old town myth that they used to say. We caught on film and basically verified.
See right now, you can see something was slowly going in front of the window.
Yeah, the second one wasn't as clear as the first one. The first one was really clear. Oh, but here, what is that string-looking thing? Okay.
You could see it right there by the back window. It's going really slow.
Yep. It looked like it started out as almost a solid, something solid, and then
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's probably
Well, that was
looks
really
like it's
cool.
either crossing the hallway or going towards the camera. Is what I thought.
Oh, I was gonna say, Tim, if you want to,
Uh-huh.
would you be able to get that freeze frame I did of the video a few years back, and it shows the apparition in full
I
color?
think it's on our website. I think.
yeah, that's
'Cause I actually
weird,
did a
man.
freeze. I did a freeze frame in that video, and then I removed a lot of the noise from the picture. I did noise reduction, and you could see the full-fledged apparition of a man
Oh,
going
wow.
around
Yeah,
that corner. It's nuts.
I'm looking for that right here. It might be. It's on the website somewhere. Yeah, if you think that's creepy, wait till you see the other one I showed you.
Oh, okay. So let me see.
Yeah, that one's Jeremy and Nick were doing quite a bit of taunting, and something decided to pay us a visit there.
I'm gonna hit this.
Meanwhile, us and our old other team member, him and I were just sleeping, and of course, they were the ones taunting, and it leans above our bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell
Old
this
damn
is
hotel.
really
I know
old.
where that's at.
Yep. Yeah, you can tell this is really old school, 2008.
That's even. Oh wait, me and Nick were 18 years old when this was filmed.
18. Wow.
Yeah, me and Nick were 18 and Tim was 20. There's me with Nick. Isn't it towards
Yeah.
the end, Tim, when you kept when we?
It is. I think I saved the best for life. Right here's a lot of orbs flying around.
I did
And
see some,
we will say our other team member did seem to get possessed at times, though.
Is that right? That's freaky.
Oh yeah, his complete attitude changed. It was weird, like the weirdest thing ever.
You sure it's on?
Let me. Did I send you the wrong video? Let's see.
Let me
It's
slow
called
it
the
down.
Shadow
Maybe,
Ghost. Right?
maybe I was just going.
Here's
too
me about
fast.
50 pounds lighter.
Yeah, that is
Before
true.
all the beers and burgers.
For all
Yeah,
the
they're-
beer and burgers in my life. Yeah.
Something flew through the skin right there.
Yeah, Tim, they have the
Yeah.
shadow video enhanced one where it's by itself.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find. Maybe I sent him the wrong one on accident. Let's see.
Was that a bug? Was there just some bugs flying through there?
Actually, they were like
hard to
balls of
That's what I
light.
remember.
Light balls? Yeah. Okay.
I think so. Yeah. So
Well, something I
Is
forgot
it-
to tell you guys, that room that we're in on that specific video, the mob used to do transactions out of that room at one point, and they said that there was an old owner of the hotel that committed suicide with a shotgun in one of the back rooms right there. And that room that we're in was that room where that guy committed suicide, and the mob used to do stuff out of there.
Oh wow.
there you go. Sorry, Andrew. I sent you the right one. I sent you the wrong one. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
okay, no worries.
My bad. I'm sorry about that.
So Boulder Dam. Oh, Hotel Shadow.
That's it. Yeah. Sorry about that. Again, we've been there a couple times too, so it's trying hard to remember which one.
Yeah, I have heard that place is like extremely haunted.
It was. Yeah. We haven't been there in a couple years though to
So
stay.
you want to tell
So
them
you're
where he's
looking back by the door frame.
Okay, this is normal speed, so it's
Right
not a
there.
very long video. Did I miss it?
Yeah, it's right there.
You're looking right by the door frame. There's like sorry. So you're looking where the door frame. See, there's like a little light lit up above on the door frame there.
Right here? You see my
Yeah,
mouse?
right down into the.
Go
Oh
down a
yeah,
little
okay.
bit.
I saw something.
Right there.
Right. It
Yeah,
looks
right
like
there
it
where
just
the mouse
pinked
is
out
right
and
now.
then
Yeah,
back.
right there.
That's weird. And it did it a
Because
couple
me
of
and-
times,
Yeah, that
right?
was. Yeah.
Yeah. We were all asleep when that happened.
It's wild, man.
Yeah, just a couple of things we've done over the years.
Is there more, or was that the footage you wanted me to check out?
That was-
I think that was the main footage, but
Okay.
we catch some orbs and stuff later on too at the foot of their bed.
What's that? What's moving around in the bed, man?
Oh,
That's
that's
just-
me and
Jeremy
Nick.
and
Me and Nick were
Okay.
sharing a bed, and Tim was in the other room with our other friend.
Okay. Yeah,
I think they had their
see
own
a bunch
beds,
of
and me
like.
and Nick had to share a bed. I think. You know that one? Yeah, that's Nick turning over and me turning over.
Yeah, I'm seeing all kinds
And
of.
what was funny was our friend, our old. Well, what was funny was our old friend. He wanted nothing to do with taunting the ghost. He wanted nothing to do with that. And
Yeah.
me and Nick kept doing it. And the shadow appeared over him while he was sleeping.
Wow.
He was the one that really wanted nothing to do with that. I thought that was pretty funny.
And he's also
Yeah.
someone that had all those mood swings too at the other room because he wasn't acting like himself that night either.
I had a guest on a few months ago. He's an exorcist, a legit exorcist. He's ordained by the church to go out and wow, that was a good one right there at the end.
Yeah, you saw that.
Yeah, it's just right before the video ends. Like,
Yeah, this is our
oh,
old
right there.
Yep.
What? I mean,
It's almost like it comes out of the mirror or something.
yeah, that's. I can't explain
Yeah,
it,
it's our
man.
old
Now,
surveillance system.
debunkers might have a field day with it because there's no way to prove that it's not a bug or something
Right.
else. But to me, it looks like something unnatural. I don't know what that is. It's
Oh, yeah.
interesting.
Like the other, like the Nick said, the weirdest one is that other one with like the ectoplasm just floats across the hallway. It's just weird.
Yeah, across the window where it moves across the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. And then that shadow right at the beginning there, and that was weird. Like it just kept like almost ducking in and out or something.
Right, you got to imagine that's a dark room, and that's darker than dark there. Like when you
Yeah.
see it, you know what I mean? That's like darker than the dark room.
Right. Weird stuff, man. Do you guys ever have hitchhikers stuff follow you guys home to where you start having poltergeist activity or anything
I know
weird
of
happening?
one specific time we were out by Overton, Nevada, and we were doing the train station out by Overton in Moapa, and the night that we got that growl and the whatever, me and Tim, because Tim was living here at the time, we got home and we have like these decorative pots in the kitchen here, and we came home and two of the decorative pots were sitting on Tim's floor in the shape of like a T, and it was like in the middle of the night. That was kind of spooky.
And actually that same night we were so funny you brought that up. We went to that train station that same night. I came home, and when I was dreaming that night, I had a dream that, like, I don't ever have nightmares. I had a dream that a horned creature was just snarling in my face, holding me down. And I think it had something to. I woke up out of a dead sleep, so I actually do contribute that to something that happened that night.
I think Nick froze again, and
I was gonna say. Yeah, Tim looking at Nick's frozen.
Yeah. Do you guys happen to know if Nick has had any kind of hitchhiker activity that he's reported?
It's hard to say. I'm not sure.
He said it before. I know. I just don't know like the specifics.
Right, cool. I'm gonna go ahead.
We used to do like a prayer before and afterwards, so it does some good. But I'm not sure if there's forces darker than that it doesn't do much.
And when you said prayer, you just reminded me. I was going to tell you guys about this exorcist. And he's here in Las Vegas. He goes out to people's homes, and he'll do an exorcism on the home to expel demons. I mean, he literally goes out and he hunts demons and evil ghosts. He has had people that have been on his team that have had some kind of hitchhiker activity follow them home, and so he doesn't take people out with him anymore.
Like I said, that train station thing. It's like every time we go there now, I'm way super cautious now.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing some type of protection over yourselves when you're going into these type of situations. But you have to believe that the protection you're putting in place is going to protect. If you just say a prayer, you don't believe the words you're saying. It's not gonna help you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just the night that dream I had of that horn thing holding me down. Like it would happen to be the same night we went there and we caught all that growling and demonic, saw pentagrams on the walls and stuff. So I definitely contributed to that place.
That is freaky. Predator
Yeah.
says possibly ghosts have unfinished business here on Earth, and that's why they're still
Oh,
here.
absolutely. I think so too.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially, I mean, you can't, in my opinion, you can't discount the work that psychic mediums do,
Mhm.
you know, in communicating with the people or spirits in the afterlife or whatever,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
giving messages to the living. I think that stuff is fascinating. Have you guys ever brought in a psychic medium on your team to your investigations?
Actually, we haven't.
No.
We try to, which is kind of weird. We don't really bring a whole lot of people with us, and we try to keep it down to about 3 or 4 people in general. I don't think we're against it. It's just
You just haven't yet.
yeah, we just really haven't yet. But I just know we try to keep it a small group because when you see some of these groups that have 20 people in them, you figure if you're going to someone's business or someone's house, they're more likely to let 3 or 4 people in than 20. And the other reason we do it is we think you're more likely to get like activity as far as ghosts go if you have less people, is what we think.
Mm-hmm.
Continue, because I'm sending Nick a chat.
Yeah, I was trying to tell him he's probably. Well, yeah, because we think that if you have a smaller group of people, whether you're doing Bigfoot or ghosts, whatever, I think you're more likely to get evidence if you have a smaller group of people. And
And
I
they have
think
to worry
when more
about the
people-
pollution, noise
Yeah,
pollution.
and then when you have more people, it seems like it's harder for other people to get in the way, or I don't know. And then it seems like there's usually not a whole lot of direction with the bigger groups. Everyone kind of just runs over and runs all over the place, and no one's really coordinating everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, and you guys are like, you guys take a professional approach when you're
Mhm.
going out on these investigations. And if you bring somebody in who's not serious about it and they just want to go out there and you know, have an adventure or, you know, have
Or
an
get scared
experience,
or
right, they're more than likely going to ruin the investigation, trying to push their own agenda somehow.
Mhm.
So I get why you guys only want to take a few handpicked people on your investigations.
Yeah, because if we brought you out to go look at that 2016 light on Frenchman Mountain, you would literally be like one of the first 2 or 3 people we've ever brought with us to do anything.
I do. Yeah, I mean, I do want to do that. Are you guys thinking
Yeah.
about going out at nighttime, or did you want to go during the
Well,
day?
Probably the daytime to take pictures and things for our website the first time we go out, and then me and Nick still need to go to UNLV and go look at microfilm and things. We haven't gotten a chance to go do all that yet.
Okay, right on.
There's Nick
so-
P.
Yeah, you're back, loud and clear, Nick.
Yeah. There was a lot of lagging going on there for a second. Oh.
Yeah. I was asking the guys, did they ever have hitchhiker activity from going on a ghost investigation? And they gave me their input on that. Have you ever had like a hitchhiker where something followed you back, or you had weird experiences after an investigation?
I've never had anything particularly happen directly after an investigation, but I've had weird things occur in my home or apartment. Like I've come home to like faucets being turned on in my college dorm all the way back in Ohio. And one time I put a thing of tea in a microwave, and then the microwave started to have like little mini lightning bolts around it. Like there was no metal in the microwave. I checked. And then I had a Bible on a bookshelf and that got pushed over. So weird things have happened, probably the result of investigations, but not directly after an investigation.
Probably some of the taunting.
Yeah, probably that. It's like, I'm going to come here and get you back.
Yeah.
So if I go on a ghost hunt with you guys, I have to make a really strong request not to taunt the ghosts.
Yes.
If we're on a ghost hunt, I don't want to have some
Yeah.
some
Well, no,
crazy
that's me too. That's
activity.
all of them.
Yeah.
Well, if we were to bring you out, we'd have to bring you somewhere where you know you're going to catch something good, and it would probably be that train station. Because that's
Oh,
the closest place to Vegas where we know you're going to catch something.
Go 1 to 50 real quick there.
yeah.
And if we
Yeah.
don't bring him there, the only other place I could think of would be Bonnie Claire or Elizalde. I mean, both of those are pretty intense too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last
Hey,
time
man,
we
I'm
went to-
I'm up for it. I'm ready.
Well, last time we went to
That'd be
Elizalde, it's an
awesome.
old cement plant from like the early 1900s, and it's abandoned now. And we were taunting again, and something scratched me on my legs and my arms. And I started pouring blood, like streaks down my arms and things,
Wow.
because me and Nick were.
That was
taunting.
actually pretty scary too. Even I got to say, I was genuinely worried for him.
Did it require
Yeah,
stitches?
that was.
No, but I had about 10 marks on each arm and each leg, and Tim caught it on video. The blood starting to pour out when no one was because
Yeah,
Tim was
that
filming
weird.
before, during, and after all of this, and at no point was there anywhere that I could have gotten scratched by anything because we were sitting out on the open desert, walking through this. It's like giant cement buildings, like the skeleton of a big cement building,
Mhm.
and there's like nothing that could scratch you in there. So I was
And
pretty
again, you were taunting.
Yeah, and again, we were making fun of him and taunting.
That's freaky. So,
Yeah, maybe ended up being scratched.
Predator says, what kind of equipment? Do you guys have like a page on your website that
Yeah, we
lists
sure do.
the type of equipment? Okay, cool. Shoot me that link or tell me which page it's on. So Bigfoot's pad.
I have to go on our website. It's bigfootspad.com.
I'm going to send you the one of Jeremy getting scratched right now.
Okay, cool. Oh, there is a page
Mhm.
called equipment. Yeah. I'll share this for you, Predator. And you can check out their website. They've got past investigations all the way up to 2020. You guys didn't do much this year, it looks like.
You know what it is? I had a newborn
Yeah,
baby,
it's,
and we were kind of chilling a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Now she's like 6 months, so we're going to start going out more. So
Cool. Well, congrats on being a new dad, man.
thank you. Yeah, my girlfriend's downstairs laughing right now. She heard that.
So you guys use EMF meters, voice recorders. You use the spirit box. Can you
Yeah, we
explain
like-
how the spirit box works?
Pardon me.
Tim, that's your equipment. That's
Right.
your spirit box.
The spirit box itself, it's believed to pick up voices from a different frequency, like of spirits. Pardon me, sorry, I just drank some water. But and evidently, like it's supposed to be a different range level of sound we can't hear, and it picks up. Well, yeah, we seem to catch some pretty cool stuff on it, though. Pardon me here.
We use the PX Ovulus all the time too,
Oh,
and we've
Yeah,
been
that's
using
probably
the
our
thermal.
best one.
Yeah, we use the thermal camera a lot lately too.
so are you guys familiar with the show Hellier?
I've never heard of it.
It's a like a mini series documentary. These guys start out looking for the Mothman, and it takes them into. It's on YouTube for free if you wanted to check it out. Just look up
Okay,
Hellier
yeah, definitely.
documentary. They do a thing in there where they cover their eyes, they cover their ears, and in the headphones they're listening to. I think it's a spirit box that cycles through the channels rapidly.
Yeah,
So you hear that right? And then so they can't hear anything, they can't see anything. The other team members will ask questions to the
Mhm.
person who's doing this thing, and the person will be answering questions based on what they hear coming out of the headphones. And it's pretty wild, man, because there's no way they can hear what the people are asking, but they're answering that their answers are in line with the questions.
Wow.
Did Tim freeze on you?
Yeah. Shoot him a message in the chat.
But yeah, so we use the Ovulus a lot. We've got some really. There he goes.
Okay, you're back.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I just left. It's like I was coughing. Sorry.
Oh, okay, no worries. That's cool.
We've got the Ovulus is weird. Like We've gotten replies. We went to a mining town where the guy who owned the building was a Frenchman, and the obvious started speaking French to us before.
Oh yeah.
We've had it speak. We've had it before where it directed us to go in a certain area and dig, and when we dug, there was an unmarked headstone under the ground. We've had a couple really cool things with that.
Wow. So
Yeah.
a buried headstone?
Yeah, we went to the historic what do they call it? Cold Creek out by High Desert State Prison, out by Red Rock, not Red Rock. It's the next off ramp after Mount Charleston. And we were out there at the historic ranch ruins, and the thing started directing us to a certain area, and it said to dig or to look under the ground. And Nick dug a little bit, and there was an unmarked headstone down there.
Yeah, that's freaky, man.
Yeah, me, Nick, and Tim, we just put the dirt back how it was when we were done because I was figuring it might not be a good idea to leave that out there.
Just rough. Yeah, this you'll see Jeremy gets clawed up about 155.
Okay, we're almost there. So 130.
Yeah.
42.
And that's one of the examples of the Ovilus going up and saying my name.
Should I turn on the audio for this?
That one it just says, but this one there's really no noise, just Jeremy going, ow, ow.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see what's going on right now. He's telling us like something's scratching me right now. And like Jeremy, this has never happened to him before either.
Wow.
Yeah, look at these scratches.
And we've been doing it even at this point, like 15, 16 years.
This wasn't too.
It's hard to tell right there, but
yeah, that's pretty hard. Did you feel it when the scratch happened, or did you notice it afterwards?
I started feeling like a burning sensation on the back of my leg, like my calf, and I looked down and there's blood going down the back of my leg. And then while me, Tim, and Nick were talking about it, all of a sudden, with the video that you were just looking at, welts started appearing on my other leg, and blood ended up coming out of those.
I think it happened again later on. I have it taped.
Yeah, it happened 2 or 3 times. But that cement plant we were in, the guy who used to own the cement plant was a POW over in World War II, and they killed like his whole family over there. And that's why the cement plant ended up shutting down, was because the whole family basically got captured by the Japanese, and they died over in some camp in the Philippines somewhere.
Right.
And we were talking about that when my legs got all scratched up.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the second time. I think there might be one more even after this where like.
Yeah, so there was a comment here by Julie, and thanks for joining the chat, Julie, and for your comment. I don't think it's cool to agitate spirits. That's worse than being a jerk to the living, in my opinion. And yeah, I've heard that perspective from a lot of people, especially people that have psychic sensitivity that communicate with the ghosts. They feel that the ghosts or spirits, whatever they are, have some feelings and emotions that really, when you do the agitation stuff, that it really bothers these entities and causes them a lot of distress, and that's why they react in a negative way.
Exactly.
Well, I did notice before this kind of stuff happens, the room the areas does get really staticky, and it seems like it is really I'm trying to think of the word. I would say full of static electricity is the best way I could word it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting that you can sense something, some kind of an energy, it seems like, or is what you're describing. It sounds to me like
you can tell
energy.
when something's about to happen, something that's not good. Like on the video, we were just sensing like staticky, like a static charge area. Not Tim saying his hand's burning in the video.
Yeah.
So thank you for stopping by, Julie. I understand. love to hear your comments on the program afterwards, and I'll catch you on Twitter. Okay, have a good night. And another friend of mine here on Mars, this guy's a musician. He says, "Yeah, I'd be freaked out. I would too, man. If something started scratching on me like that, you know,
Yeah, because I know Jeremy. It's never happened to him before, and that was like 5 times, like back to back to back. Something really didn't like him that night.
Well, and I was wearing long pants too, so I couldn't have been doing it to like myself or anything because I was wearing long pants, and it would be real obvious I'm pulling my pants up and scratching myself. You know?
Yeah. I don't doubt that it was something paranormal was happening to you. Absolutely. That's just, it's really weird, and it would scare the heck out of somebody, especially if it's the first time happened to you. Did you guys leave the area after that, or did you continue the investigation?
I think that was towards the beginning. Was it the beginning?
Wow.
And the middle?
Yeah,
we just kept going that night.
You guys are hardcore, man. I tell you.
We try. Well, I think one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life, though, was we went to an old mine, and they had this catwalk that was like 3 floors up in the air, and the building was off its foundation. You could hear it rattling when the wind would blow, and Nick walked on that catwalk to take a picture.
An old 1880s catwalk. Yeah, I was like, why not? You live once.
And Nick even said when he was up there, when the wind would blow, he'd feel the catwalk beneath his feet swaying back and forth, like attached to the rafters.
Yeah,
and you heard the famous Nick. You got to tell Andrew the famous story about when we saw the lights. Remember the hunters over in Ely, and you were trying to reenact what happened to the hunters, where the light chased them with the flashlight or the beam of like the spotlight.
Oh, when 2 hunters were up in Ely and they shined a spotlight towards a UFO, and then they booked it like 100 down to like some bar down there.
No, we're like, well, I think I told you the story. So there's a story about there's 2 hunters over by Ely, and they were out hunting, and they saw some light on the other side of the valley, like at treetop level. And one of the hunters had a spotlight because they're looking for deer, and he shined it at the light. And he said he blinked, and when he opened his eyes, the object was right in front of him.
Wow.
And they got in their car or the truck, and they were going over 100 miles an hour, and this light chased them all the way till they got to the Ely town limits. And then the light kind of shot off. Well, one time we were out there looking for UFOs in the same area those hunters were in, and we saw lights off on the other side of the distance and the other side of the canyon, whatever you want to call it, the valley. I went to the car to go get my gloves on because it was cold out. I turn around, and Nick has our spotlight shining it at the object on the other side of the valley, trying to make.
I think you got video of that too.
Did you attract something?
No, not that night. No,
Oh, okay.
I mean, there were some like lights following us around a little bit. One time we did. Jeremy and I went out to the old Barker Ranch compound, and there were some lights descending from the hill while we were driving up a canyon. That was pretty intense.
You might have to tell them where Barker Ranch is and like what we were doing and all that.
Oh, so at the time we got this offer from the History Channel, and they told us if we could get to Barker Ranch where Charles Manson and his family were camped out at way back in the day, if we did a ghost hunt there and we got some good footage, they would think about using it. So we were driving up to the ranch, and you have to go through like almost a 90-degree angled canyon. It's ridiculous. We were in a Jeep, and this thing was almost tipping. You could put the window down, and I could touch the other wall of the canyon because we were nearly perfectly vertical.
And this was at nighttime?
Yeah, we were passing where Spawn Ranch and Spectre Ranch were at the time. I think it was Spectre Ranch we were passing.
Wow.
So
go ahead, Nick.
So we're driving up this canyon, and all of a sudden we see like lanterns out in the hills surrounding this canyon start descending down, coming closer and closer to us at the time. We had Jeremy's pistol, which is a 357, and he gave me the pistol and the bullets, and he's like, dude, just start loading them up. I don't know what's going to happen.
That was one of the scariest things you've ever had happen, because we were told by the TV crew before we even left Vegas They said some Manson followers are still living up there, and
Wow.
they said don't stop your car. If they approach your
Yeah.
car, they said don't stop, lock your doors. And they basically told us if they come to your car, you're in trouble. And me and
Yeah.
Nick started seeing these lights coming down the hill towards the car. And like Nick said, the canyon was so narrow with such tight turns. I was trying to book it as fast as I could. Meanwhile, these lights are coming down the hill. Nick's loading a pistol in the passenger seat.
Jeez. Well, so what year was this?
2017, 2016, somewhere around there.
Okay.
No,
How-
that week, yeah.
How did you guys- How did History Channel find out about you guys?
I really don't know, but they came to us. We didn't come to them. They came to us, and I
Didn't
believe it
Sci-Fi
was
Channel
for
too?
History Channel International is what it was.
So did you guys do any research on the history of that area before you went out there?
We did. Me and Nick did the ghost hunt that night, but we didn't really catch anything interesting. But it was just me and Nick on that one because Tim had to work.
Yeah.
But we didn't really catch anything interesting, so we ended up not using it for the show. But that was probably one of the more hair-raising things. Make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. When we got a warning about this, in the same situation they warned us about, worst-case scenario was starting to happen.
Well, so what is that in Nevada or was that in California?
It's in Death Valley on the California side.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
It's by Trona, California.
What is it?
Trona, Trona.
Okay.
They had some cool stuff though. Like I guess Manson had a police chase a couple years before he got arrested for the killings, and his truck was left on the side of the road by the ghost town of Ballarat, and it was still sitting there where they pulled him over.
Wow.
And then there was like a school bus where Manson used to drive his followers up and down that steep canyon we were talking about, and the bus got stuck. It was like a famous story. Manson talked about it, and the bus was still stuck. That's how I knew we were on the right track, as we found that bus.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of creepy, but cool at the same time. But
How we get a school bus up there just blows my mind.
Yeah.
oh yeah, we couldn't even get a 4-wheel drive Jeep up there. Hard, not to mention a school
Yeah,
bus.
that blows me away how they can get. So them school buses end up in the weirdest places.
Well, the thing
Right.
is, too, what's weird was Barker Ranch. It was left how the national park found it. All Manson's family's like plates and dishes and things were left where they found them in the 70s. And then the other thing that was weird was then the whole place caught on fire and burnt most of it down like 6 months after we were there.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So it's no longer there.
It's like in ruins now. Most of the things, it wouldn't be worth the trip now. It's all burnt down, but
Yeah.
it was all there when we went.
Well, guys, I think that's a good place to wrap it up because we can
Right.
sit here and tell ghost stories all night. And
100%.
yeah, I mean,
definitely,
it's all interesting stuff to me. But we'll, when you guys are ready, when you guys have the time, I'd love to go out with you, do some.
Yeah, we'd like to have
That'd be
you.
cool.
Definitely. We'd love to have you.
Awesome, cool. It sounds like it would be a good time. And
We should have that Bigfoot documentary out in the next month or two. That's what we're shooting for.
okay, and there was something about a book I saw on your website. I think is there
Yeah,
a
I'm
book
doing
also
book
coming
on
out?
the Ely UFO things.
Okay.
I'm writing a book on that. We're gonna try to. The priority right now is the Bigfoot documentary, and then the book would be
Yeah.
right after that. Is what I'm trying to do.
I know you guys are a team and you guys always do investigations together. Do you guys ever do anything individual? Do you have any individual pursuits that you guys do outside of the team?
Mostly me with the UFOs things over in Ely. Like Tim and Nick will help me sometimes, but a lot of that was done either by myself or with me and Nick is what most of that was. And then Tim mostly shows up to do like the filming aspect of it.
I just like going outside in nature and finding what I find, whether it be nothing or mysterious footprints. I just like to go out there and see what's out there in the world.
Yeah, here on Mars, he's a pretty good friend of mine on Twitter, and he's had some weird experiences too. So he says, "Interesting talk, guys. Could only catch a few minutes, but awesome to hear." I think he's on Eastern time. so it's a couple hours later for him. He says, "Please be careful. I feel it's serious entities beyond the veil and have had some whack encounters myself." Yes, I've heard about his encounters.
I hear you. I know how that goes.
He's had some wild things happen. So, what about you, Tim? Is there any individual pursuits within the realm of what we're talking about that you like to
I never really strayed off too much. There might have been like a couple times where I took like a ex-girlfriend or something to like one of the places we've been, but that's about, or a friend to the place, but that's about it.
Okay.
A lot of people either think you're crazy or aren't interested in it. So
you definitely, I can see that. It's not a pursuit that everybody will endeavor to take on. And a lot of people still don't believe in it. They still think that ghosts, paranormal activity can all be explained away. UFOs are figments of imagination or misidentifications. Bigfoot is just some kind of an animal that we haven't discovered, or they try to rationalize these things in this world when in reality this world is far stranger than we can even imagine.
Things beyond our knowledge we have no idea about.
Exactly. So I know you guys are you have a website, bigfootspad.com. I think I shared the link earlier. The other website that you write your blog on, Jeremy, is eliufocrash.com. Is that right? Yep.
And then we also have links to all of our social media on our main website.
That's right. And what if somebody wanted to reach out to you with some information about a sighting or something like that? Do you have an email address?
The best place to go would be bigfootspad.com. You could submit something there, or bigfootspad@yahoo.com if you want to write us directly.
Cool. All right. Hey, you know what? One last question before we go. How'd you guys come up with the name of that?
Jeremy, tell me.
Well, in the old days, me and Tim actually wanted 2 paranormal groups where he had one and I had one. And then the name, I was originally going to call it Bigfoot's Place. And this was back again when I was like a teenager. And I was wanting to call it Bigfoot's Place, but I didn't think that sounded very good. I thought Bigfoot's Pad like a place or like a home. I thought that was kind of clever. And the name is kind of bizarre in general, like if you think about it. But it stands out and people do remember it because it is kind of strange.
Well, I knew exactly what it was when I saw it because I had this sign when I was growing up. It said Andy's Pad, and it hung in my bedroom, and that's what your pad is where you hang out.
Yeah.
It's where you spend most.
And even our logo, it's a Bigfoot hanging out. So
sitting on a lounge chair or something.
All right, guys. Well, it was fun talking to you guys. I hope you guys come back on again. We didn't even scratch the surface of everything that you guys do.
We will.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll get to see you in person. You're only like 20 minutes away, really.
Yeah, right.
Now, hopefully we could do a show coming up where we're talking about something we took you with us and had a cool experience as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like a blast, man. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm thinking train station.
That sounds scary, but I'm down. I don't think my wife will want to go on that one. She'll probably bow out of that one, but I'll go. All right, guys. You guys have a good night. Stay safe. I'll catch up with you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Everybody in the chat, thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. See you next time.